Convergence and Divergence, sports media and sports betting.
I will start. First, it's a pleasure for me to participate at this event and to see everyone in Manila. This is my second time here in the city, and we all from Europe, and we had really a huge jet lag. So hope we all have a good sleep last night. Yesterday we met with Sam to have a brief talk before the today fire chat, and we were discussing what is going on and what is happening in Asia, and how our talk can be useful for local operators at first. We see that Asia is now not so regulated as the markets that we are working mostly at this moment. And Sam has amazing experience with unregulated markets which are becoming regulated markets. And we want to start the topic at first from the gambling side of the business to understand how the operators' landscape should be changing from when this migration from regulation to regulation happens, and first from the ethical point of view. What do you think? Like you are in the gaming industry for about 20 years?
A bit more.
Maybe even more. Everything was happening in .com. And now you are running this business on regulated market. And what is your feeling? Where this request for the responsible operations comes from?
Sure. First of all, good morning, everyone. I don't know you, but my coffee has just started to kick in, so it's a good time. My first time in Manila at SiGMA. Very excited to be here. Yes, I mean, the topic that we're discussing is a very complex matter. Obviously, we went from an offline industry many years ago to online, like you said, first a .com world where a single license would allow you to operate across the globe, to nationally regulated businesses. And clearly the transition has been quite painful. Adding regulatory restrictions and rules to any business brings additional cost, but it does also bring sustainability. And I think as operators over time, it's become clear to us that having a culture of responsible and ethical behavior brings a long-term sustainability to the business. So my advice to any operator now active in gray or different shades of gray or black markets that are soon expected to be regulated is to start bringing in these behaviors into their business as early as possible, to start getting the customers accustomed to having a little bit more measures and features to manage their online gambling activities. And whilst that may go against their immediate commercial targets, I can assure you that in terms of long-term benefits, sustainability and profitability, it will be a net positive over time. Unfortunately, there will always be bad actors. There will always be operators looking for short-term profits and are just way too greedy. And the result of that, unfortunately, ends up being over-regulation. Legislators and regulators will react to bad operators, and as an industry, we have to make sure that we self-regulate a lot before what is coming as imposed to us from regulators, in order to avoid over-regulation, which is really what we're facing in Europe right now.
Yeah, I've heard that some UK operators they voluntarily restricted some advertising activity some years ago before the review of the Gambling Act, and did it work in general?
It was too late. Unfortunately, it was too late. As an industry, I think we have not really had enough awareness around the social issues around gambling over time. To be fair, any new industry faces similar situations where you don't particularly understand well the impact you have on society until the industry reaches a certain size. That said, I've been around the industry since its inception, and could we have done it better? Could we have been more responsible? Could we have been less aggressive with our marketing tactics? Probably. But the industry is very much aware of it now, and a lot of the activities that we do are no longer imposed by regulators, but are part of innovative features that we develop to make sure that we have a sustainable future. And you're seeing this also in the US, where regulators have not really started bringing in restrictions around RG, but operators have started imposing limits on their activities, especially when it comes to marketing.
I also noticed that, for example, it was happening in Europe for some time ago. Companies it was a great period of time when you were able to work with 𝐂𝐭 and Maltese license around Europe. And even in that times, people were reaching out the customer service, and they were seeking for some responsible gaming opportunities. As far as I see, this request comes not only from the regulator. This request comes from the players as well. And players are getting smarter and smarter. So it feels like that the first operator who will be totally on it will have very continuous growth without all these ups and downs. Of course, you will not gain 10 million GGR in 3 months, as some operators, especially in this region, are gaining. But in the long term, you will have the possibility to move your operations to regulated markets. It is very good that you mentioned United States here, because we all know that due to regulation, you have to report any particular issues happening with you in other states, even not regulated, even with your .com operations, to some regulators which you are working in. How it is challenging? Does it make sense to make the operations more ethical?
Yeah, first of all, you raise a great point. RG measures should not be viewed as something that comes as a demand from regulators and legislators, but also as something that is beneficial to the customer. And like you said, very early on, we've always had customers asking, in particular, to be shut down out of certain verticals. They'd be comfortable with their sports betting, but they would like to be excluded from casino. And this feature has been around most operators for a long time, even though it goes again against your immediate commercial targets. But like you said, these types of behaviors are beneficial in the long run. They contribute to your brand and your positioning, and you give a clear message to your customers that this isn't an adversarial relationship, as in you lose, we win. We're bringing an entertainment product to you, and we want you to consume it responsibly. And if there are features that we can develop so that you can have this fun in your life, this entertainment product in your life, but you can consume it in a responsible way, then we should be there developing these features for you. When it comes to your second question around how operators can be active in regulated territories while also, running gray market offshore operations, and how do you align your behaviors across these different jurisdictions? It's a really tricky one because you don't want to be a company that treats customers differently in terms of RG and ethical behavior just because they're based in a jurisdiction where regulations have not been introduced, or you're operating in that country with an offshore license. So as LiveScore Group, we operate in 4 countries right now, most regulated one being Netherlands, UK, they're really trying to compete against each other, and least regulated probably Nigeria and Ireland, which currently doesn't have some of the regulations. What we have chosen to do as a business is to introduce any kind of RG restrictions, any kind of player protection, user journeys and interactions that we've had to do in UK, Netherlands, to all the other territories by default. That includes deposit limits, that includes affordability conversations. This really gives us an uncompetitive position in certain markets, but to our earlier points, we feel like by taking this initiative when it's not imposed by the regulator and showing the customers that we care about their activity, we feel in the long run our brand will benefit. It's not a common approach. Most operators will take their .com liberties and try to maximize their revenues. But time will tell what is the right strategy, but that is what we've chosen as a company.
Yeah, and this happens like they are utilizing as much possible advantage of .com operations until they want to become a real company with capitalization, until they want to move to regulated markets, until they want to have good sponsorships, until they want to acquire another different companies. So this is like this game always has 2 sides. It's like two sides of the medal. And what I'm really thinking about is the media and advertising. We have a very well developed European advertising landscape, which is very predictable. But when it goes to local markets here, regulation is strict, but at the same time, there are so many opportunities to work with greedy publishers, to work with even official marketing agencies to put your advertising of your unregulated sportsbook in airport, on the train, in official media. And sometimes it makes a bad play. And even if the operator is trying to find something which is really dark, for example, like pirate content advertising, it can bring the operator to the very deep hole. We've seen that it was happening in multi-jurisdictions, and the problems which were created were really significant. So what would be your advice for you run LiveScore product? This is the media platform at first. This is amazing fit, and you have LiveScore bets, and we have long talk about gambling. And now, what would be your advice for the media companies to make their business sustainable as well, to avoid different blocking in different countries, and how they can grow their business in this vertical?
Yeah, I mean, we do find ourselves in that very unique position that we're a B2C gambling operator in 4 countries, but we're primarily a scores, news, and stats app globally, and in this region we have about 15 million users, and we work a lot with the gambling industry. the advice I would give is to be proactive and not be passive. What I mean by that is be engaged directly as much as possible with advertisers. Make sure that you have your own codes of ethical advertising, and you make sure that every advertiser sticks to those principles. Try not to go too much through aggregators, through third-party agencies, and relinquish the control of the quality of the ads and the content of the ads. Of course, this isn't easy. There are lots of cultural nuances, language barriers. So being able to monitor the types of ads that get displayed on LiveScore, especially in this region, is not easy, but it has to be done. We cannot, just leave the responsibility to advertising feeds or programmatic feeds, and just dismiss, any kind of bad behavior that could be misleading advertising, or advertising that overpromises customers or guarantees winnings. As media publishers, we have to take some amount of responsibility and make sure this type of behavior does not filter through media channels.
We are already out of time, but I really want to ask the last question. Do you have in your mind any sort of memories when some advertisers was approaching you with any sort of misleading advertising and was trying to onboard with you with such kind of ads?
Yeah, of course. I mean, look, I don't want to blame also too much to the operators. Everybody's under pressure to deliver performance, and marketing teams are constantly being pushed to improve their KPIs, and so yes, we often get creatives which are questionable that we have to reject and ask for iterations. So you have to do it with a process. You have to do it by giving proper reasoning. But the easiest way to do is have a code that exists and say, this is what LiveScore accepts. Please try to stick to those conventions as much as possible, rather than being reactive every time an ad creative is being proposed.
Yeah, so I think we are off for now. It was a really good discussion. Thank you very much.
Likewise. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.